It has been said that consciousness is not created when there is no cause. Of what nature is that birthlessness of consciousness? This is being explained 5 to 4 page. The birthlessness of consciousness, which is free from causes, is constant and absolute. For all this, that is, the duality and birth, was an object of perception to it. So, the duality and the birth is only a perception for the consciousness, which had been unborn even before. That means it is always birthless only, consciousness. Then again he asks, since for the reasons already advanced, duality, which is the cause of birth, does not exist. So having realized the truth, that is uncaused, and having abstained from obtaining any further cause, one attains the state of fearlessness, that is devoid of grief and delusion. That he says, the grief and delusion, we can include ignorance also. Having realized the truth, that is uncaused, having no cause, and having abstained from obtaining any further cause, say impressions or the birth or whatever it may be, one attains the state of fearlessness, that is devoid of grief and delusion. This much we did yesterday. So, there was a discussion to have the story of Nala Damayanti. If Swamiji wants, we can explain. Otherwise, we can proceed with the lesson. Nala Damayanti. Story? Story. The name of the king is Nala. And Damayanti is his wife. And the king is just like Dharmaraja, very great king, following all only rituals, following dharma completely. So, but in olden days, there is a procedure that girl can select the boy in the big gathering of all the boys. So that is called Swayamvara. So Swayamvara was there for Damayanti, and all the gods, Indra, Varuna, Chandra, all they wanted to marry her. Then what they did, where Nala was sitting, they took the form of Nala and sat beside him, all the gods. Now it is the turn of Damayanti to select. And of course, she is very intelligent. So how he could distinguish the man Nala from the gods? See, previously one thing we have already told. The feet of God, they will not stand on the floor, number one. And the eyes will not blink for the gods. So these are the two indications. she know, and she has nicely examined. So, deleted rather to say all the gods. Hmm? And she married Nala. That is good. But when they were going back to the heaven, I think it may be Saturn or somebody was coming. And exact name I don't know, it may be Saturn. You know, the god Saturn is very black. And a limping leg he is having, not looking fair. So, he is coming. Then the gods ask, where you are going? And you have put so much of harem and all these things and nice clothes you are having, where you are going? No, I am going to the Swayamvara of Damayanti. Oh, it is already over. What you are going to do there? Then they use a particular Sanskrit word, all the gods. Because gods, they know only Sanskrit. Mahagajaha palayante masaka nantu kagatihi. There was a big wind. What you call that? Storm. So big storm was there. In that storm, the wind was so big and it was taking away the elephants also. The wind is taking away the elephants. Tornado, whatever it may be. So, and you are like a mosquito. What to talk of you? We are like elephants, so beautiful, having so many things. And before us, in beauty, you are compared, you are a mosquito. So what to tell of a mosquito? It also goes away. Mahagajaha palayante masaka nantu kagatihi. What to tell of you? She will not anyhow, she will not select. And moreover, this Swayamvara was over. Then this fellow got a revenge. I will see the king Nala. I will give him all sorts of troubles. But as you know, as Dharmaraja, Nala is always sticking to the truth, followers of all the rituals. So, when a man is speaking truth and when he is following the rituals, these gods, those who wanted to do some harm, cannot enter into him. When they enter, then only they do some harm to him. In the same way, it happened with the Diti, the wife of Kashyapa, where from the demons have, and she was doing penance, and Lord Indra wanted to enter into her and wanted to destroy all the penance of Diti. So, but something they should find wrong, then only they can enter. So, one day she had been to the ablutions and she has not washed the legs. That means a drawback in rituals. This fellow entered, Indra, into the womb of Diti and cut off the inside. That demon was there. He has cut off into 7 pieces. Even then when they were crying, then each one into again 7 pieces. 7 into 7, 49. That is called Marut. In the same way, this fellow was watching always Nala. Let there be some drawback. Something like that happened and he has entered. When he is entered, it is, you see, the common feature with Lord Dharmaraja and this king Nala. So they are very much attached to these dice. And as a king, if somebody invites you, you should not tell, I will not play. That is disgrace for you. And in the case of Dharmaraja, you see, he has not taken anybody's support. Krishna was waiting. If he calls me, I will go. But whereas Duryodhana is intelligent, that's why he has taken the support of Shakuni. He won the war. So here, again, of course, for King Nala, there was nobody to support him. So he has played and lost everything. All the kingdom, everything he has lost. Because this was all the play of that Saturn. He has entered into him and spoiled his mind. Now what to do? Then he has to leave the kingdom and go away. So he has sent the wife and 2 children were there, I think. So to her mother's house, kingdom. Because in this kingdom they cannot stay. And yes, he went to forest. When he went to forest, first he sends away the children only to the mother-in-law's house, and the wife and Damayanti and Nala was roaming in the forest, whatever brings taking. Then Nala thinks, you see, she is a queen and roaming in the forest, very difficult. And one day they could not get any food. So Nala took out the cloth and he wanted to put on the pigeons and wanted to catch so that they can eat something. Actually, it was the play of Saturn. The 2 dice he played, they came in the form of pigeons. So when he has thrown the cloth, they took away the cloth and went away. Now he has become stark naked. What to do? Then Damayanti gives half sari to him. Sari she was wearing, half sari. So night both were sleeping. Then Nala thinks, you see, she is a queen, having so many troubles, not getting food also. So why should she stay with me in the forest? So he tears off the sari to the half which he is wearing and goes away to the jungle, forest, so that she may, without finding him, she may go back to his father's house. Same thing happened. Morning she gets up, sees husband is not found because overnight went away. She went back to. Now these fellows, Saturn is having, Saturn or somebody, I don't remember, is having the revenge, you see. So Nala one day saw a serpent in the midst of fire. So he just goes and protects the serpent. Then serpent bites him and he has lost all his beauty and he's become very black, ugly person. Then its name is Karkotaka. The name of the serpent is Karkotaka. Then he says, see, for your good I have bitten you. You have now changed your form, because in your original form You cannot go to others' kingdom and do some work and earn your bread. Here you are not getting any bread. That's why I have beaten you. But I am giving you a cloth to you. You keep it carefully whenever you want. If you wear, you will get your original form. Karkotka said, very good. So he goes to some other's kingdom. Huh? Kashi. There in the kingdom, king of Kashi. And he becomes the head cook there. In the whole history, we hear only two names. One is Bhima and another is Nala. So they are very good cooks. So he has become the head cook in the kingdom of Kashi. But Damayanti was in search of him. She wanted to find her husband. So she has sent, now she is in father's kingdom, so she has sent some servants, soldiers, spies rather, you say, and she told them a particular stanza. Whoever answers this, you come and tell me. So they are searching, and at last they went to the kingdom of Kashi. And when they uttered these things, nobody was there to answer. So then Nala comes. It is their previous history, you see, that they have played the dice and the children were sent to the father-in-law and you have towed the sari and you have left me in the something. Because all these things without connection, who understands? So he gives the answer, some answer. Then Damayanti knows that he was here. But he is in a changed form. Then what she did, she sends an invitation telling that Damayanti is having second Swayamvara to the Kashi king. That is to be held with the very next day. He tells the Pandit who takes the message, the very next day is Swayamvara. What is her idea? You see, he knows how to ride the horses. Who? Nala. And such a long distance, say some 1,000 miles or 2,000 miles, she is away and she is somewhere. So this much of distance, within one night and one day, nobody can cover except Nala. So this is the plot telling that Damayanti is having second Swayamvara. So naturally, because he has answered, how can it be possible? He also will be coming. And here, but the invitation was sent to the king of Kashi. When he saw tomorrow and how to go to Swayamvara, then Nala says, I will take you, don't worry, I know. And they were riding, and the upper cloth of the king, it has flown away. Then he asks Nala to stop the chariot so that, and he says, it is already 100 miles behind, where you will go? Let us go, don't take care of it, don't worry. Then they reach us, but here they see no Swayamvara, nothing. Then again some questions she puts to that Nala, who is in the other form, and he answers. Then she decides this is Nala, and explains to the king of Kashi, because I wanted to call him, I did this. So, and again, it is confirmed. Then at that time, he takes that cloth and appears in the original form. So this whole story goes like this. The main thing is the prarabdha. Even I think Panchadasi it comes. The Rama, the Dharmaraja and Nala, they could not overcome their prarabdha. The sloka I forgot. Nala Rama Yudhishthira, you see, in Panchadasi. Nala Rama Yudhishthira. Sloka goes in Panchadasi. If they can remove the prarabdha, why they could not do? Dharmaraja was a king, he was roaming in the forest. Nala was a great king, he was roaming in the forest. Rama was a great king, roaming in the forest. So, one thing they say that nobody can overcome prarabdha. Even if you know what will happen in future, even then, you cannot overcome. And another thing, vinasakale viparita buddhi. When bad time comes, mind goes wrong. What to do, what not to do, they don't decide. In the same way, when Krishna was standing, Dharmaraja could call him, you play for me. He is not going to say no. He has not called. In the same way, here also, knowingly, I may lose the game, but he has played. That is all. Prarabdha. So it goes like this. Why just we were discussing about the food. So then I told only two great persons are there in the history, Bhima and Nala. That's why Bhima became the head cook in, not Yajna, no, in the incognito. In the Drupada. In the kingdom of Drupada, he became the head king like this. Virat Raja. Nala Ram Yudhishthira, Panchadasi. So it is the story of Nala. In no way connected to our subject. Having realized the truth that is uncaused and having abstained from obtaining any further cause, one attains the state of fearlessness that is devoid of grief and delusion. One thing we can tell, that those who follow the rituals, they will be getting God's life. So, these great personalities, though they were following the rituals, always telling truth, but because of prarabdha, they have to enjoy some bad karma. That is Nala Rama Yudhishthiraha. Now he is telling further, Abhuta Abhiniveshadhi. He has asked, duality, which is the cause of birth, does not exist. And why it is seen, that he is going to tell. Abhuta abhiniveshadi sadrushe tat pravartate vastva bhavam tu buddhaiva nissangam vinivartate. Owing to fascination for unreal objects, consciousness engages itself in things that are equally unreal. That is, because of the imagination, because of the intense desire to possess the objects, he says, The consciousness engages itself in things that are equally unreal. On realization of the non-existence of the objects, consciousness becomes free from attachment, abstains from them. So, what is the cause? That is ignorance. Because of ignorance, he says that duality exists. When he realizes that nothing is there in this world, realization of non-existence of objects. Objects of the outside world as well as the formation of the elements, that is body, mind, senses, etc. also we have to hear as objects. Otherwise, he is not having the attachment for the outside objects, and he may be getting attached to his body, like demons, and may be having some false desire in the mind. So, we have to exclude. When he says non-existence, we have to include our body, mind and senses in that non-existence. That means nothing is real. Then only he can remove the cause of ignorance.
Okay, here in the English translation of Karika 78, he writes grief and delusion.
Grief and delusion.
Then in the footnote,
He says it is equal to ignorance.
yes, in the footnote, Swamiji, the translator wrote that delusion stands for karma.
Kama.
But he also writes that in the Bhashya of Adi Shankaracharya, of the 10th shloka of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Shoka and Moha, grief and delusion, as the two roots of samsara. This is what he describes it here. And he says here that kama that is mentioned here is equal to moha. That is
Delusion.
yes. But some lessons before, Swamiji said that shoka and moha are the effects and illusion is the cause.
Yes.
So, if illusion is the cause and shoka and moha are the effects, why does Adi Shankaracharya say that shoka and moha are the root causes of samsara?
Samsara is again and again coming into the body. And the attachment to the body and the objects is called samsara, worldliness. So, because of the cause, ignorance, illusion, one is having the desires. Because of the desires, he will be having soka and moha. See, whenever desire is there, that means when he is attached, little that side. When he is attached to a particular thing, he will be deluded. Whenever delusion is there, that is called moha. And because of the delusion, he will be having all the difficulties, that is called soka. So the main cause for samsara is ignorance. So all other things are the effects. Instead of telling ignorance, he has used the word samsara, because cause and effect are not different. Because of ignorance, we are having samsara. And because of ignorance, we are having desires. Because of ignorance, we are having delusion. Because of ignorance, because we are deluded, we will be feeling sorry. All these things are interconnected. So, thinking that the cause and effect are one, and here he uses the effect word, samsara, instead of ignorance. Whereas in other places, he uses the ignorance is the cause for samsara, like this.
Second thing, Swamiji, which I asked yesterday, but I want to be sure that I understood correctly Swamiji's answer. Yesterday I asked about it is all imagined.
Ah.
I asked about the imagination. I mentioned that Swamiji said that the only things that we create
Ah.
are I and mind.
Hmm.
So I asked Swamiji yesterday, is I and mind, are they imagined by us? Swamiji yesterday said yes, we imagine I and mind. Then I mentioned that Swamiji says the rest is the creation of Ishvara. We don't have that power, it's Ishvara power. Then I asked the question, should we say that Ishvara imagines all of this? Then Swamiji said no. And Swamiji said we should not poke our nose into the
Creation of the
creation of
Ishvara.
When Swamiji said that we should not poke our nose in the creation of Ishvara, in relation to the question, does Swamiji say that this type of question is an atiprashta question, is an illegitimate question?
No, no. You see, two things are there. One thing, not to poke in the creation of, that means never find fault with anything or anybody. This much, poking nose. And because of the I and mind, we get attached to the world because of our creation. And another thing, God is not there to create anything. He just gives the fruits of the actions of the individuals, so he has started creation. From his side, there is no creation. These things have been clearly discussed in Brihadanyaka Madhukanda. What is Madhu? Madhu is nothing but happiness. So what is the happiness? That is, the sun is happiness for the individuals and individuals' happiness is for sun. Like that is describes so many things. So, the whole creation is not for Ishvara. He is creating for us. All these elements, all these, say, the whole world, say, sea is there, mountains are there, so many things are. These are all for the individual's enjoyment as per their actions. As per their actions. So, when we eradicate the I and mind, that he is going to tell now, then there is no world for us. Then we are not disturbing the Ishvara's world. And at the same time, we are not disturbed. You see, the main thing here is, when we remove the I and mind, we are not disturbed. Otherwise, at each and every time we are disturbed. As and when we are getting attached to the I and mind. So, 2-3 things, God is not creating. He wants to give the fruits of our actions. That's why he started creation. So, these are all interdependent. You do the actions and the results are given to you to enjoy so many things. That is one thing. And another thing is, we should not poke our nose in the creation in the sense. We always say, Ishvara sarvabhutanam uddeshejin tishtati. The Ishvara is staying in the heart of each and everybody and he is controlling each and everybody. He controls how? Because of the actions he did. He is not controlling by himself. Taking the support of the actions, he is controlling. Each, because individual does not remember. So, when he is controlling everything, why we should poke our nose? That's what I mean to say. And another thing, as we say, I and mine is our creation. Because of our creation, we are attached to the world and the soka and moha, all these things comes. So, better to remove this I and mine and don't disturb anybody and try to elevate your own self. That Sri Krishna says, Uddhared Atman Atmana. So, in this way, we can have some reconciliation.
Regarding the same question, Swami, to ask, are the stars, the moon, the earth, the trees, are they all imagined? First question. And second question is, they are imagined by who? Are these two questions legitimate questions?
No. They are imaginations of particular individual. Because when he realizes, he sees nothing. Because of his ignorance, he is imagining. Says, when the whole world is not there, unreal, so how you are seeing? Because of your imagination, ignorance. So when you remove your ignorance, they are just appearance. They are not there. That he wanted to. So, it is only the imagination. First you see, that's why many times I told. First, you start a discrimination with the I. In the I, two things are there. The mind and the consciousness. You are joining both and you say I, and you identify yourself with the mind and body, and I say, I am imagining. So how far you have come out from the Atman? Only I was there as consciousness. But it was superimposed with the mind. Then that has become the, see, worldly I, not the original I. This is the reflection. And attaching to the reflection, we imagine so many things. The body, mind, senses, this, that. So, that's why in the spiritual field, the very first object that is necessary is discrimination. So, nothing that the questions are correct, because that is why they have given so many opponents. Opponents are not following the other doctrines, but still those who follow our own doctrine also are having so many questions. So to clear up.
Last question, Swami.
Don't worry.
If I understood it correctly, once the I and mine are there, this imagination to a certain degree follows prarabdha karma. Means the imagination that is imagined by the jiva, by the individual, is conditioned by the individual's prarabdha. Therefore, I cannot imagine just everything. I am limited by the prarabdha. But the prarabdha consists of fruits of actions that were done in the past. On the other hand, there is also agami karma. Fresh karma that I create moment by moment due to ignorance. This agami karma also generates imagination according to what I understood. But that imagination of Agam is governed by what?
Agami is governed by our own actions, but what you say, the prarabdha, that which has already started. Most of the aspirants, they think they cannot remove this prarabdha. All the saints says it is not correct. We can remove the prarabdha up to 95%. Though it appears as a semblance, it may be there. But the moment you start thinking of the consciousness or the Atman, as and when you go progress, your progress is there, you are deeply thinking, then prarabdha cannot disturb you, though it is there. We have seen in many saints. And all the saints, they say, the prarabdha can be reduced to 95%. Only 5% will be there because it is prarabdha, we have to enjoy. But that enjoyment also is from the viewpoint of others. Why? Because of his efforts, he has overcome the ignorance, he is not attached to the body, he is not attached to the karma, nothing. So, all the shastras are told, don't tie your hands and keep and sit in the house without doing any practice, like a old hag. Hag they used, is it an old man? So, act. Act in the sense what? To realize the self. And all the shastras, they say, you can realize here and now. So, it all depends not on the prarabdha. Though it is there, it cannot bind a person who is practicing intensely. That's why all the shastras say, you do this, you do this, you do this. Otherwise, what is the use of shastras? If simply we say, prarabdha is there, let it go on. And another thing, for a realized person, there is no agami. If he thinks that agami is there, he has not realized. Number one. And another, when he is a mediocre or lower aspirant, for him the agami will be there. He has to enjoy. But no doubt he is progressing. So, that's why bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Anek janma samsiddhas tato yanti parangati. After many births, they will realize. So, the progress is slow. That's all. So, it depends, you see, it is equally proportion of your practices. If you do intensely, if there is no obstacles, you can realize here itself. Even if you practice intensely, if some obstructions are there, you may have to take 1 or 2 births. But if your practices are not intense regarding the realization or the knowing of the Atman, then the progress will be so. That's why Sri Krishna says, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So, don't think that this is my prarabdha, it has happened like this, it has to happen like this, and sit in the room. Act and live in the present. And you should think, that's why the Shastra says, when it says nothing is there except Atman, we want to realize that. When we have realized nothing is there, then what to talk of prarabdha or something else. So, Now,
భాష్యంలో 79లో మొదటి లైన్లో యస్మాత్ డకారం హలంత్ ఉంది కదా, అది ఉండకూడదు. యస్మాత్ అభూతాభినివేశ.
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा. Abhuta Vinimesha, yes.
డకారం హలంత్ తీసి
And you have to.
సీడ్ జోడించాలి.
So, Abhuta Vinimesha, page 526, is the persistent belief that dualist exists, though in fact it does not. See, previously also he told, I told Krishna, and he says, intense desire for a particular thing. That, in other words, we can say, Abhuta Vinimesha. The persistent belief that duality exists, though in fact it does not, on account of this false notion of the nature of delusion, born of ignorance. What is this Abhuta Vinimesha? Only duality is there. I wanted only this. Actually, sticking to one's own doctrine, which is false, is called Abhuta Abhinivesha. Consciousness engages itself in similar objects. Non-existence of objects that are dual is realized. Then one becomes unattached and turns back from objects which have sprung up from a fascination of unrealities. Again he says, you see, fascination of unreality. The unrealities, feeling the unreality is a fascination, he says. So, persistent belief. What is Abhuta Abhinivesha? Persistent belief that duality exists. You make him understand 1,000 times, he will not agree. That is, how can I be God? Bas. There is the matter. Abhuta Abhinivesha. Though in fact it does not. What does not? Duality is not existing. On account of this false notion of the nature of delusion, born of ignorance, that consciousness engages itself in similar objects, that is, in duality. When the non-existence of objects that are dual is realized, that means, as we discussed now, nothing is existing besides the Atma. So, cover everything with the Atma. Try to see only consciousness. When we start Karma Yoga, the very first rule, Ishwararpana Buddhi, see everything God in every time, in everywhere. Same thing he is telling. When you are able to see, you are realized. When the non-existence of objects that are dual is realized, then one becomes unattached, turns back from objects which have sprung up from fascination of unrealities. Now we are going to the sub-commentary. Is the fearlessness state is always there? That is the question. Neha nanasti kinchana. Yes, the fearlessness state is there always. That's what scripture says. Nothing is there besides the Atman. Neha nanasti kinchana. Knowing the non-dual Atman or knows the duality of means and end is not there. See, two things. He says, knowing the non-dual Atman or knows duality of means and end is not there. In any way, it comes to the one meaning. He becomes non-attached to duality and returns back, giving the meaning of the words yasmat. So, When he realizes no duality is there, then he says he goes back. Goes back to what? He says the persistent belief that he has had as duality, he gives up. Then, owing to the fascination of unreal things, the mind acts accordingly. From that, becomes free from them. So, when he realizes, he becomes free from them. He is explaining the fascination for unreal things. He is explaining. Asati, he says, though in fact it does not exist. What? Duality, asati. Dvaye, dvaya astitva nishchayo. Though the duality is not there, but he is telling the duality is there because of abhuta abhinivesha. Persistent belief that duality is there. That we can say because of the impressions of the past. All of a sudden he cannot jump to the duality, the non-duality. That it will be there and it will be following him. So, what he has to do? He has to do so much of practice, discrimination, not simply sitting and meditating. The meditation should include discrimination and dispassion. So, while telling Karma Yoga of Swami Sivananda ji, there also he says, even while doing Karma Yoga, never give up your Viveka and Vairagya, Vichara. Swami Sivananda ji says, you have to combine all the yogas. That also he says. The fascination of duality is due to ignorance. It can be proved by the assertion and differences, anvaya and vyatireka. That means, if ignorance is there, duality is there. If ignorance is not there, duality is not there. That is anvaya and vyatireka. To tell this, in the stanza, he has used the word he says. You see, abhuta abhiniveshadhi, that ha becomes, because of the combination of the words, it becomes dhi. But actually, when you separate the words, it is he. That why he has used in the stanza he, that he is telling. To tell this, that is, the ignorance can be proved by assertion and difference, anvaya and vyatireka. Because of that, he has used a letter he in this stanza. And again, he has used a word tad. Tad is to tell that fascination, that persistent belief. Tasya dvayasya vastuno abhavam. If he gives up that ignorance, if he gives up that attachment, if he gives up the fascination of the mind, then tasya dvayasya vastuno abhavam yada yasmin kale, then when he gives up, then he realizes. Yada tada. Buddhavan tada. Tada, when he realizes. Tasma nisanga nirapeksha sad vinivartate. Then he comes to understand and realizes that the Atman is not having any attachment and no desires. Non-existence of objects, that is nirapeksha, that are dual, is realized. then one becomes unattached, nisanga, and turns back from objects. That he becomes unattached to everything, even to his mind. Then only he realizes. He attains the fearlessness state that is explained, and now he is giving the reason. Nivrittasya pravrittasya nischalahi tatha siddhi. Vishaya sahi buddhanam tat samyam ajam advayam. Then there follows a state of stillness. When the consciousness has become free from attachment and does not engage itself in unreal things. See? Acha. Tada. Even Lord Krishna gives the example, illustration. When there is no breeze, when the flame of the lamp is not oscillating, flickering of the flame, the yogi becomes still, he says. The same thing he is telling. Then there follows a state of stillness. When the consciousness has become free from attachment, does not engage itself in unreal things. When it is not engaged in unreal things, that is the object of vision to the wise. So, again he says, that is the object of vision to the wise. Wise means those who are discriminating. Always. That is the supreme state of non-distinction, and that is birthless and non-dual. So, when the consciousness has abstained from objects of duality and does not engage itself in other objects owing to the perception of non-existence of objects, there follows state of motionlessness, where it is of the nature of Brahman alone. Since the state of being one with Brahman, that is non-dual, dense with the one essence of knowledge, is the object of vision to the wise, who perceive the supreme reality. That indeed is the supreme state of non-distinction, birthless and non-dual. So much he has told. Abstain from objects of duality and does not engage itself in other objects. That means, here there is no impurities of the mind. Mala Vikshepa Avarana has been removed because of the deep Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. Those three impurities are removed through Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. So, no oscillation, no impurities, no doubt. How can I be God? How can I be Brahma? No doubt also. Then he is still. Because the scripture says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahma. So, he is not telling the Atman is somewhere. I am Atma. That which is within you. Pratyeka Atma. That is Brahman. Then, knowing that, he becomes still. How? Abstain from objects of duality, does not engage itself in other objects, owing to the perception of non-existence of objects. Then follows the state of motionlessness, where it is nature of Brahman. So, when mind has become still, when it is not oscillating, that means it is in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, completely merged. No question of mind. That is, it has completely merged. So, previously we told, if the mind is completely merged, that body can stay only for 21 days. Huh? And those who are blessed and those who have become the instruments of God, they experience that and come back. But ordinary individual, if he tries, if he goes there, he does not want to come back and he cannot come back. Ordinary individual, when he reaches the state, he cannot come back and he is not willing to come back. But it is only the blessed few, blessed by the Almighty, to elevate the worldly persons. They do come back and preach. See the state of being one with Brahman. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, there are 6 of my disciples who belongs to Ishwar Koti, he says. That is, they can go to Samadhi, they can come back and preach. Brahmananda, Vivekananda, Premananda, Shivananda, Yogananda, Niranjanananda, these 6. But about Abhedananda says, it is his last life. So, these 6, whenever incarnation comes, they can again come and can teach. They are the disciples of the followers of the incarnation. Something he says. So, everybody cannot. About others he has not mentioned what is going to happen. And he says, 2 of them, exact name I forgot, they were even the disciples of Christ, he says. The first disciple of Christ who was catching the fish. When he was catching the fish, because of seeing his concentration, made him his disciple. Something like that, another also. Those 2 have come again with me, he says, Sri Ramakrishna. And now again he says, only the wise perceive which is beyond all imagination. Only the wise, discriminating persons, discriminating all through the day, they only perceive which is beyond all imagination. So the liberation is proved. He says, Vishaya sahi buddhanam tat samyam ajam advayam. This is the supreme state of non-distinction, that is birthless and non-dual. This only the subcommentator says that wise alone can get. Wise in the sense, those who are discriminating.
Can Swamiji elaborate on the state of no distinction?
No distinction That is, in the scriptures, they say, even Kathopanishad and Brihadaranyaka, they told, they will be negating all the things of the world. But Sri Ramakrishna says, two examples, two illustrations. So, one, he gives the illustration of a fish. The fish which is joyfully moving in the water without any tension. In the same way, the realized person will be moving in the world of bliss. There, water is there for the fish. For the realized person, the whole world has become bliss, he says. So he will be moving in the world like a fish, which is in water. Nothing to worry, no imagination, not that I did not get food, nothing. So he says, without getting attached to the body or mind, he just moves. And another, he says, he is just like a child, 1 or 2 years. And he compares him to God also. He keeps something, whenever he asks, he will not give. He will ask, he will call somebody unknown person and gives to them, he says. So he is like that. And especially see, the realized persons, when they move in the world, they know the past, present and future of each individual. They may not express to you. They know. See, when Swami Hariyatita ji used to call me, just when he pronounces Medhananda, his only name. But I used to feel that it is coming from his navel. I used to feel. And we are having our relations since many births. I used to feel like that whenever he calls me. And when the seva has come, he has negated all. Only because 22 Swamis were there at that time. He has selected me. So, here you see, they are not at all worried about the body. The same Swami, previously also I told, yesterday also we have discussed, because of the bed sore, there was a big operation behind for him. 12 inches, 7 inches, 6 inches deep. The flesh was taken out. One big hospital was there, that because of something they took him to the hospital and they have put him the ICU, intensive care unit, and afterwards they did not see him for 2 days or 3 days. So some water was there and something, and this whole thing, it is. So they have to take away that much of. Then, knowing that they have not taken any care, he was taken to other hospital. But already bed sore was there. What can be done? It was operated. And after a few days, he was brought back to the ashram. myself and another Swamiji was there by name Premananda. When we were, for every 2 days, we have to remove the bandage and again we have to give the new bandage, you see. But it is such a big wound. When whatever we take out from that, at times used to stick to the wound. When you peel it, pain will be there, but he never expressed any pain. So, the realized persons, when they stay in that state, they are not worried about their body or the mind or the state of the world. But if they feel, very rarely, they will instruct somebody. But that is also very rare. We never saw, though Swami, Trilinga Swami was staying for 280 years, we never heard that he has initiated such and such a person. Only one or two who are very intensely following day and night, they wrote something about him. He has never asked anybody to write anything, or as far as possible as I know, it may not be correct, but he has not initiated anybody. So the state is difficult to describe. As they please, so they stay. The scripture says, as they please, so they stay. So, and Sri Ramakrishna himself says, such and such a person is a realized person. You go and take instructions from him. And another day, he calls that is Sevak and says, you see, this man is a realized person. What he was doing? He was taking the leavings of the food that are thrown away, eating himself and feeding a dog, putting the hand on the neck of the dog. So, then Sri Ramakrishna says, he is a real person. He is not worried about anything. And he has not asked anybody anything. Whatever is there, that leavings he has taken and he went away. So, in the same way, towards the end of the life of Swami Brahmananda, he says, now everything is Brahman. Pour Brahman into Brahman. He could not get up or so, ask somebody to bring some water. And what is his utterance? Pour Brahman into Brahman. That state they reach are very difficult until and unless in some places they say we should reach that stage, then we will understand. But in some other places, by the grace of God, we get the company of those persons. Both are there. So it is rather to say how they stay, it is very difficult. But if you read the book Jivan Mukti Viveka, you will get many glimpses of how they move, what they do, what is they follow, what not to follow, all these things. He gives a clear idea. That is called Jivan Mukti Viveka. After realization, how the saints move, how they stay. But still some prarabdha is there, I told. Because of prarabdha, they did not get Videha Mukti. That's why they move. So before getting the Videha Mukti, how they move in this world, a very clear description has been given by Swami Vidyaranya. big book called Jivan Mukti Viveka.
Swami Ramanandiలో చాలా గుణాలు అవి చూసేవారు.
But
Whatever is mentioned in Jivan Mukti Viveka, we could see in Swami Ramanandi.
Another Swamiji was there by name Swami Ramananda. So people used to tell whatever the characteristics of a Jivan Mukta that we see in him. Like that people used to tell.
Swami, what are the names of the 6 disciples Ramakrishna said?
That is Yogananda, Niranjanananda, Sivananda, and then Premananda, Brahmananda and Vivekananda. Ishwar Koti says. They come and two of them who I don't remember the name, they are the first 2 disciples of Christ, he says, who came. See, 1976, I stopped reading the literature of Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda and Sarda Devi, and afterwards I never practiced speaking English because I was in Mysore learning Karnataka because there and Kannada, and as soon as I came to Kailas Ashram, it is only Hindi and Sanskrit, no English, not even a single word any speaks. And the very first lecture I gave, it is in 2006, because they made me the president of that Parayana group, Parayana Anjali. As I told, we are having a group of some 85, 90 sadhus. So they made me the president and they gave lectures on Brahma Sutras. I thought it is extreme south. People may not be knowing Hindi, so somehow I managed to speak in English. That was first. And afterwards also, just I think in 1 or 2 I have given, when I go to, only once in 2 years we used to go to Trivandrum. So 2006, 8, 10, 12 I think. And 13 we came here. So those days little I spoke, and after coming here only I started speaking English, brushing up in my language. That's why so many mistakes will be there. The birthless horseman is self-effulgent. For that he is giving Ajam anidram aswapnam prabhatam bhavati swayam sakrad vibhato hi esha dharmo dhatu swabhavataha. This is birthless, sleepless, dreamless, self-luminous. What is Atman? He says, now Swamiji has asked, what is Atman? Here he is giving. It is birthless, sleepless, dreamless, self-luminous. For this entity, the self is ever luminous by its nature. It is self-luminous. Sakrit vibhatam. It is self-luminous, he says. And he says, the imaginary things is supported or the dharma is holding them. See, now he has used a word, sakrit vibhato hi esha dharma. This dharma word he has used for the Atman. Huh? When you see the translation, for the entity, the self is ever luminous by its very nature. And above it told, Ajam is birthless, Anidram is sleepless, Aswapnam is dreamless, Prabhatam is self-luminous. So, but what is the meaning of the word, this dharma? When you are telling, it is self-luminous Atman. So, this dharma you have to use, or somehow you should tell the meaning that dharma is nothing but Atman. So, regarding that, now the opponent is asking a question. What is asking? Kalpitasya sarvasya dharanat dharmaha. You say the Atman is the support, or it is holding all the things. What are all the things? That which have been created through illusion. Kalpitasya sarvasya dharanat. What it is holding? It is holding all the objects which are created out of illusion. Now, two things he has asked. Opponent, you say it is supporting all the objects, or it is holding all the objects. Why you have used here the dharma for the Atman? In which way? What is your explanation? That he is asking. Then he says, the dharma is a mental impression. How you are explaining it as base or support? See, dharma following virtuousness. Now you are telling whether it is a support or holding. The virtue is a quality and you are giving to the object. How a quality can become an object? That is the question put by the opponent. Dharma is a mental impression. How you are explaining as base or support, and it is independent, and again you are telling it is independent. So, that's why he says it is self-effulgent. He says it is self-effulgent and it is supporting everything, it is holding everything as the rope is supporting the snake, or the rope is holding the snake. Because all things are just superimposition. So what difficulty is there if something has support? Adhisthana. That's why. And another thing, it is independent, I told, because it is self-effulgent. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam bhati. It is not taking the support of light, anything. Rather, it is giving light to the sun, the moon, the god, the stars. So what to talk of it? Self-luminous. Dharma. Everything kept in it in sleep, then is telling the support. Everything is kept and dissolved in Atman in sleep. That's why I say it is support. It is holding. He has asked. What opponent has asked?
How can you say, Dharma is a mental concept?
Ah.
How can you attribute qualities to it?
How can you say that it is Atman? You say Dharma is Atman. Why? It is supporting everything and it is holding everything. How we are telling it is supporting everything? Because everything dissolves in sleep in it. Adhisthana it is supporting. That is why, you see, in the middle also once or twice I told, Dharyate iti dharmaha, that is Atma. Now, the whole Gita in Sanskrit grammar, there is an aphorism called Adirantena Saheta. That means you tell the beginning, and if you tell the end, the middle things also will come. Avyaktadini bhutani, avyakta nidhanyevacha, tatra ka paridevana, he told. It is appearing, so it is not appearing. In the same way, in Sanskrit, if you take the first and the last, middle will automatically come. So, what is the first letter of Gita? Dha or dhar. Huh? And what is the last word, letter?
Nitir mama. Nitir mama.
Ma. So when you add this dhar and ma, dharma. So follow the dharma. You take the dharma as Atman or take as virtues. If you follow the virtues, you are doing the Nishkam Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhyana Yoga and other yogas. If you take dharma as virtues, or if you take dharma as Atman as told here, contemplate on it and realize, there ends the Gita. See. So, here he says support. How it is support? Everybody goes to sleep in that. In that way it is support. That's why called dharma. The instrument or knowledge, mind is dissolved in sleep, but as a witness it is proved. Though mind is dissolving in the Atman, then nothing is there. Mind is not there. Who will tell? He says, when you wake up as a witness, the consciousness is there. So we say, it is holding everything. So it is independent and self-effulgent. What is Atman? It is independent and self-effulgent. Because it is self-effulgent, it is called Atman. Otherwise, if it is not self-effulgent, it becomes a dead matter like pot, he says. If it is not self-effulgent, it is just dead matter like a pot. That's why we say it is independent, self-effulgent, supporting everything. That now in the translation, Sakrit Vibhatam, he has given the translation. That is ever luminous. Heva yesha dharmo dhatu svabhavaha. That is, he simply says, by its very nature. He has given the essence of this particular stanza, but word by word he has not explained. That's why the subcommentator is explaining these words. Yesha dharmaha. And dhatu svabhava is a combined word. So that is, now the subcommentator so far he has explained what is dharma. And he says it is independent, it is self-effulgent, so it is called Atman. Then he says punarapi. ये पुनरपि का Punarapi kidrishyasau buddhanam vishaya ityaha. Once again, it is being shown of what nature the object of vision of the wise. Object of the vision of wise. So he is asking, what is the object of the vision of wise?
పువ్వు సరిగ్గా చేయాలి వాడేమో ప్రీనరపి రాశాడు
Huh?
వికారం ఇచ్చేసాడు పునరపిలో ప్రీనరపి చేసేసాడు
Ah. He is good in English composition, but little.
So these two are different people actually.
Hmm.
When you see,
Hmm.
sometimes I have seen
Hmm.
English translation is correct and Sanskrit is wrong. So what I feel is when writing the commentary, this Vachaspati, this Panoli,
Hmm.
he has taken some other Sanskrit commentary, and sometimes even in the commentary you can see a glimpse of Anandgiri.
Hmm.
So that means he has followed somewhere else the Bhashya and Anandgiri, and he has written the English.
But the composer of English, Sanskrit is
Typewriter.
typewriter. Because you see, this is not the latest typing. What is called? Latest typing? That is just
Computer typing, but
computer. This is hand typing. Typesetting. One word they taken. So some mistakes are there.
అది మొదటి పారాగ్రాఫ్ లో
Hmm.
స్వయమేవ తత్ ప్రభాతం భవతి
Hmm.
న ఆదిత్యాది అపేక్షం అది పకారం ఎక్స్ట్రా ఉంది అక్కడ
Adi.
త్యాది
Oh, pa dirgha is extra.
no
Hmm.
let it be dirgha but single pa is extra ఆదిత్యాది when you say that line is remaining pa కొట్టుకుంటే ఎంత
So, they say, what they study in Kailas Ashram? They study cha, letter cha. They study letter he. And they study the avagra. Oh, this only I see. They study only this. That means they go to so much details. Why a cha is used here in the commentary? Why a he is used? Now he told you, see, why he has used he. So in this connection, again I will try to remind you, because our Swamiji says, I feel some of them are not understood. That's why again I am repeating. See, Kumaril Bhatta was a great scholar. And in those days, printed books were not there. So, he wrote hand copy, manuscript. So, he was explaining to the students. So, what happened? He used to come to a particular stage. Tatra tu noktam atrapi nochati. That is, actual, the meaning if you go, it is not told there. Tatra na uktam. Atrapi nochi. Here also we are not telling. So, he wrote by himself and he could not make the meaning. Who? Kumaril Bhatt. So, every day he takes the lesson from the beginning, comes to that particular point, tattat noktatrapi nochete. All right, tomorrow will tell. Because he could not make the meaning, what he has written. So, one of our Swamijis were there. His name is Swami Paripurnananda. I told, he was the manager, aged 93 years old. And he is a Punjabi by birth. So, Punjabis, their writing is very peculiar. And he is old, 93 years old, but he was the manager. So, he has to give the receipts for all the donors. But he is very punctual, very particular, and never took a single pay from the ashram. Hmm? Very truthful to his core. What he used to do? He used to write the receipts of the donors. And in 84, our pontiff told, you see, in those days, the kitchen in charge, the in charge of the cow shed, in charge of the market was only one. So I was made kitchen in charge, cow shed in charge, and marketing. Then one day, while going with the walking for the Swamiji, Swamiji told, you see, you are an educated boy. Why you should go to the market, wasting so much of time? You take an assistant who can go to market and bring all the vegetables, so many things, because in those days also more than 100 people were taking daily. So many things have to be brought to the market, from market. And whenever puja is there, special puja, we have to bring garlands, we have to bring fruits, so many other things. And whenever the manager says, oh, somebody has come to give bhandara, you go and bring means, so one day we have to go 3 times also to the market. So Swamiji told, you take an assistant, but you assist the Swamiji in the office. All right. Instead of going and coming in the hot sun, better to sit in the shade and do some work. So what the Swamiji told, you see, you write the cash book. Cash book in the sense, whatever receipts we receive, we have to write down. Whatever the expenditure of that particular day, we have to write down and take the cash balance and how much cash is remaining, you have to. So this is cash book writing. So, but for cash book writing, I have to write the receipts. So at times, because he writes, he already 93, hand must be shaking, and he is writing, something he writes. And I said, Swamiji, I am not able to read this name. So he used to remove the specs. Again he put the specs. But he could not make the meaning right proper. Are, makhi maro. Makhi maro means, you see, in olden days, they used to write down the manuscript. So, they were taking down, another fellow was taking down the manuscript. What happened while closing the first manuscript, some fly has died in a particular page. Fly. So, he could not make the meaning. So, that is called makhi maro. So, what you have to do while writing down, while taking down, you catch of the fly and you put it and rest you. That is called makhi maro. But means actually it is not correct. Some letters are there, but he could not make it out. So what to do? Makhi maro. Because there in the first manuscript, one fly has died somehow. So you also catch of another fly and you put that there, here in your manuscript. That is called makhi maro. So he told, Swamiji, I could not, are makhi maro. That means how I have written the letters, in the same way you write. So what I used to do, because I cannot understand of course it is in English, so I used to write. That's why. Nobody can read what it is. That is called makhi maro. That means that it is there, it is all right. But here, Kumaril Bhatt has written by himself. He could not make the meaning, like our Paripurna Swamiji. Huh? Yes, yes. So, he every day he comes. Hmm? It is not told there, tatra tu noktam, atrapi nochite. 1 day over, 2 days over, 3 days over. Hmm? He comes to that point and again he closes the class. So, his disciple is there, Prabhakar. Kumar Bhatt is Prabhakar. Guruji, he says, it must be like this, because he also read so many times and he could understand. And you should not make the meaning like this. It is not told there, it is not told here. You have to divide the words like this. How? Tatra tuna uktam, atra apina uchyate. That means there it is told by the letter tu. Tu means but. But here it is apina, and. So there you have to write but here you have to take and. That is, but if you combinedly if you write, it becomes the same meaning. And in Sanskrit, we cannot divide the words and write. That's why they used to write combinedly. Then the Prabhakar told, you see, you use tu there and api here, but when you combine the same meaning it comes, then, oh, now I got the meaning. You are my guru, he says. Disciple. And he was, of course, he was very intelligent, and he started another branch, that is followers of Prabhakara, doctrine which deviates from his guru. He is Purvamimamsak Prabhakara, this Kumar Bhatta, but he has some differentiation he made and he wrote his own doctrine. Oh, it is something like that. Why you are telling he? Why you are telling cha? What is the meaning of the tu? What is the meaning of he, api? So, somebody says, Kailas Ashram is such, where they give the meanings of all these letters. So, that means they go into so details. Not that simply they are telling that much. Now, that day Swamiji has shown the footnotes that were given, written by Swami Vishnudevanandji and his Guru. Now if you see, I have taken only the sub-commentary. Footnotes I have not joined. To give for sub-commentary itself is taking so much of time. If we add the footnotes, then we might have not covered even half. You can see for each stanza how many footnotes are there. You can just see the original. So here original is there, and then the sub-commentary, then so much of footnotes on that. But everything in Sanskrit, not in English. So, dharma.
Swamiji, I just wanted to tell you, in computers, there is the concept bug. There is the concept bug in the computer.
Concept bhag.
Bug.
Bug, B-U-G, bug.
Concept.
So that is coming from the same place. Like
Oh.
the fly.
Acha. What is that is called?
Bug in the computer.
Bug. B-U-G, bug.
Yes.
Acha, concept. What it is completely?
It's coming from the same place like a fly, what you are saying in the printing.
Oh,
So there is a concept called bug.
bug. Acha.
One time,
If you don't understand, it's just simply program. Bug. So, but here it's not.
No,
So,
but you see, there's a very minute difference. In the printing of course, when you are unable to extinguish or differentiate the writing, you just imitate and you continue it, even though you will not be able to understand the meaning. But here in programming, you cannot further continue because the program will not compile itself. If, even if a semicolon is missing, Swamiji, your 10,000
Yes, yes.
lines of programming will not compile. He knows it because he is a programmer, but I studied programming. So even if a single semicolon is missing, 10,000 of written line of programming will not compile. So you need to debug it.
All right, we don't know anything of ABC of computer. Let it be with you. But whenever necessary, we will take your support. So now he has concluded dharma. What is dharma? Dharma is Atma. It is supporting everything, it is self-effulgent, that he has told. Otherwise, it becomes a inert matter. Nothing new is told than previous things, he says. You see, Sakrit Vibhataha, that becomes luminous by itself. It is not dependent on the sun for its effulgence, meaning it is self-luminous by nature. This entity called the self endowed with the characteristics such as these is ever resplendent owing to the nature of thing, the self. For this, the subcommentator says nothing new is told than the previous. That means about the self we have already told. It is independent, it is partless, and it is self-luminous. So what has been told, that has been again told here. He says, now is being explained why the supreme reality is not comprehended by ordinary men. Though instructed in this manner, first he has asked, how you can explain the scripture, the teacher and the disciple. Now you see, he reversed the coin. He says, when the teacher is instructing, when the scriptures are telling, why they are not understanding, you see. First he told why they have told. Now the opponent. That means to the types of questions that are possible in the human minds, they take as opponents. That's why now he says, now is being explained why the supreme reality is not comprehended by ordinary man.
దాని సంస్కృతం చూడండి. ఏవం ఉచ్యమానమపి బహుశః.
Bahushaha, that word is deleted. Bahushaha, one word we have to add. This CC I have written here. Bahushaha. Because by reading sub-commentary, he says Bahushaha, and I don't find in the commentary here. Then I took the original book and saw that one word is missing. Evam uchyamanamapi bahushaha paramartha tattvam kasma laukike na grihyate. Evam uchyamanamapi bahushaha. That means the teachers are explaining, and then scripture is again and again explaining, smritis are explaining, even so many explanations are there, and they do hear. Nowadays they sit in the room itself, they hear through TV. Everything from morning till evening, so many lectures you can get. Simply you can sit in the room and hear. You need not go to outside also. See, Swamiji, one small story. Because I remembered, in olden days, but little, say, the fun of villagers, not the educated fun. So in olden days, they used to go to some places where some Pandit or some Swami used to explain Ramayana or Bharata or something. So, a couple was there, wife and husband. Wife used to go daily. Wife used to go daily for the lecturing. And the husband was not going. You see, he is telling so nicely the Ramayana and Bhagavata. Why don't you come? No, I am not interested. Then, because it is a village, you see, in the open place they sit during the evenings. And only just little stage will be there for the lecturer, and others will be sitting wherever they want. In villages, even now also, when I went to some village, it is so. They are all sitting in the dark. Only I was having a light and stage. But nothing to be spread. Only some paper they have spread and they were sitting, 50 persons in the village. So after such long request, the husband agreed. All right, today I will come. Lecturing stage was there, that side, and he was sitting near a tree away. So naturally, he will be hearing very less, and he started sleeping. When he was sleeping, see, the dogs are having a peculiar character. Dogs. So the village dog has come and it has urinated in his mouth. Because it is village. And then he came to the house and told, what is this? You told these stories are so sweet and this thing, and I am feeling only it is so salty. When he woke up from the sleep, his full mouth is salty. Then the wife understood something went wrong. Then he told, no, you see, actually they are very sweet. Today, anyhow, you can see, they are very sweet. So again she took him, and again he was sitting near the tree. So now wife has not sit in the group near the lecturer, so she was sitting behind him, besides him. So she took some sweet water. So when he started sleeping, yes, pour little in his mouth, and she was hearing, and this fellow slept, and after that, and he came, you are correct. Today I felt the sweetness of the story. Oh, it is just for fun. Our teacher used to tell, that means you should not sleep during lecturing. So they are explaining and you are sleeping, what you will understand? Here he says, even after hearing from the masters, even after hearing from the scriptures, why they are not understanding, that is the question. He says, the Atman is self-effulgent, is told by the master and the scriptures. Even then, the supreme reality is not comprehended by medium and low intellectuals. By mediocre and lower intellectuals. Sukhamiti. Sukha mavriyate nityam dukkham vivriyate sada yasya kasya dharmasya grihena bhagavan asau. owing to the Lord's fondness, here you see, though the commentator uses the word Lord, it is no other than Atman. You have to understand. Owing to the Lord's fondness for any object whatsoever, he becomes ever veiled effortlessly. Veiled effortlessly. For veiling, for to knowing an ignorant object, effort is not necessary, says. And is unveiled every time with strenuous effort. So, to unveil the curtain, to unveil the ignorance, you should have strenuous efforts. But, strenuous. But, to become veiled effortlessly. That's why he says, he has asked the reason. When the instructions are there, why they are not realizing? Then he says, the Lord's fondness. What Lord is having fondness? It is you are having the fondness. For an object of enjoyment whatsoever, he becomes ever veiled effortlessly. So in both the places, he uses the capital letter, Lord's and he. That means the Atman is not different from Brahman. But here in this particular context, becomes ever veiled. How can the Lord can be veiled? Maya is under his control. He cannot be veiled. So we have to take the meaning as the individual. Individual is veiled. That because he is not different from the Lord, he says, he becomes ever veiled effortlessly and is unveiled every time with strenuous effort.
Here when you say Atman, is it Jivatman or Atman?
Jivatman. Jivatman. Otherwise, how he can be veiled? Only the Atman cannot be veiled.
I think so.
Sukhamiti. So much of commentary is there for this. We'll see in the...
So, what he said here in the Karika, I just want to clarify, is that the self, the Atman, which in appearance is veiled, is the Jiva. Why does he use the word fondness? Why does he use the word fondness?
This is because previously he told intense desire, Krishna, but here lightly as fondness for the objects of the worlds.
What Sanskrit word does he use?
Sanskrit word is Sukham.
No. Sukham avriyate nityam, the Lord's fondness for any object.
Avriyate nityam. Sukham avriyate nityam.
No. Avriyate is veiled.
But fondness is Sukham here.
Acha. For any object. That is, see, nityam, avriyate nityam sukham. Though in the core, the Atman is only the happiness, but because of the fondness of the object, it is veiled and is feeling sorrow. Now here you see, in the commentary it says, on account of the fondness arising from infatuation that is false. So he is having false notion. Because of that, some attachment is there for some objects. In the commentary it is clear, and I think it will be more clear in the sub-commentary. ఇవాళ 25 26